Wednesday, so once again a new YouTube video from my side. For some reason unknown to me, you seems to like the stories where I'm making fool of myself. So today, once again, a story time. I've prepared 3 of them. As usual, this time the main topic will be my glorious days as reenactor. For those of you who have no idea what reenacting is, those are the guys and women which are dressing in the clothes from one or another historical period, for example, Middle Ages, and they are reenacting that lifetime or battles in their free time. Yeah, basically they are doing time traveling. And back in the days, I was actually one of them. I was active in several, actually one group, but we've been traveling through the time. We started with early 10th century, then we moved to Middle Ages, and we landed up in 17th century. So yeah, so I prepared 3 stories. Let's go with first one. Have you ever seen a Fellowship of the Ring? You know, the first part of Tolkien trilogy. There is a scene where Aragorn is bouncing or deflecting the dagger thrown at him by mighty Uruk-hai. You don't know what scene I'm talking about? This one. And many years ago, when I was in high school, actually that was the time when Tolkien was the thing. That was the movie that everyone were talking about, and so on and so on. I don't remember exactly. I think it was 3rd grade of my high school. We had spring celebration. Spring celebration is a tradition where in my high school, where on the first day of spring, each class supposed to prepare something, a concert, I don't know, face painting, some kind of an event. And me and a colleague of mine from my class, we were the member of the same reenactment group. So we thought, okay, on behalf of our class, we're gonna invite them, so they will make several duels, basically a show-off. And that happened on our playground behind a school building. But as I said, it was the first day of spring, so very fresh grass, juicy green, and so on. And 2 of our colleagues were fighting. One of them had a bastard sword, which is basically a large one-handed sword, and the second one had one-handed sword and a shield. And they are fighting, duel is going great, and at some point they clinched. So the guy with 2-handed sword or bastard sword just, pushed the other one back. And he made like 2 steps to the back. The problem is that he was wearing a historical shoes, and the soil is made of leather, and on that juicy, little bit wet grass, he slipped. So he started to falling to the back, and trying to catch, balance, he threw his arm to the front, and he held his sword. That's a good thing. Unfortunately, he was not able to hold his shield, so he basically threw it in front of him, and that shield, spinning like a disc, like a frisbee, went straight into the other of our colleagues. And we have no idea how, but he actually deflected that shield. She went straight into the bushes. The applause was astonishing. Everyone were absolutely sure that it was on purpose, that it was directed. I remember my English class teacher came to us and asked how long it was practiced. And we were standing like, oh, that's long hours of practice, yeah. And everyone knew that if that wouldn't go accordingly perfect, that shield would probably behead our colleague. So I'm not the only one who makes those weird things and have a weird adventures, but I'm actually not innocent as well. And this is gonna be our second story. Few years after the previous one, as I said, we've moved through the time periods. We've been reenacting the 17th century Polish military dragoons regiment of King Sobieski. And we've been taking part in reenactment of a particular battle which took place in Zamość. There was actually several battles during that event, during one weekend. There was a cannon battle during the night, which looked awesome because a lot of cannons on the walls of the fortress, and in front of it was shooting, musketeers were shooting musket and so on, so a lot of fire, amazing. But the story I want to talk about actually took place on the, I think it was around noon, Sunday. It was extremely hot, like really, really hot. And it was like a typical battle. The scenario was given to us saying which unit should advance at which point, at which direction. But the fights between two duelists were not prepared in any way. We've been actually fighting there. And we only tried to meet the opponent which was previously agreed upon, because some people like to fight each other, various reasons. And I'm actually made it. I faced the guy who I wanted to fight. He wanted to fight me for a very simple reason. We never fight with each other before, and we wanted to try it out. And we are fighting. Our duel is taking a little bit longer than it should be. For God only knows what reason, we just cannot finish it. And the battle moves on. So the people are like moving forward on the battlefield. So we are staying actually behind on a plain grass, surrounded by tourists. Not like on the grasp of our hand, but they see us because the whole crowd moved forward already. And we are fighting, and don't ask me why. I have no idea why I did it. But he's swinging his saber from right. And instead of blocking with my rapier, like that, maybe like that, or bouncing it off, doing anything smart, I decided, or maybe my body decided, to actually catch that saber. Look out, it's actual saber. It weighs almost 1 kilogram, and it was actually swinged at me. Of course, it's not sharp, it's not like gonna cut me. It was blunt, but still, it's a kilogram of metal. So I grasped it and make a pivot around myself, holding that blade and pulling him behind me, at the same time going to my right knee. You don't believe me? Here's the picture of that. See? Here's my hand. Here's the guy. And here is the blade of his saber that I'm holding. So, that actually happened. I throwed him down on the grass, pointed a rapier at him, he surrendered. That was the end of the duel. But still, later on we've been wondering why I decided to catch the saber. No one knows, no one will ever know, but still, story lives on. So, the third story will be actually not about me or somebody else. It's going to be about whole group and Mother Nature. Let's go. same historical period, so we are still in 17th century. We are part of a big event which is called Fields of Glory. It's a multi-period event, which means that there were reenactment groups since ancient Rome till 20th century, Second World War, and so on. So whole surroundings around the palace that was the main building for that event looked incredibly weird, because you could meet, for example, a guy in paratrooper 101st Airborne paratrooper uniform riding a horse, or for example a Roman centurion riding a Second World War German motorcycle with the sidecar. That was really interesting event, because the groups were mixing, because a lot of friends there, and each period was presenting some kind of a small battle. Most of them were not actual battles, so reenactment of actual battles which they took in place in the history, but like presenting the various versions of fights through the ages. And our scenario was fairly simple. Our group, which was kind of a large one, we had muskets, rapiers and sabers. We're supposed to advance, take the muskets, fire the salvo, put down the muskets, advance, with attempt to fight with our steel. But the second group, which was very small but had 2 cannons, supposed to fire those 2 cannons at us with grape shot, and half of us should die and second half should run away. That was the idea. That was the scenario. Problem was that at the beginning of our battle, the small rain started to pour. So first part went really well. We went on the battlefield, we aimed our muskets, we fired the volley, everything went well, and we moved forward. The problem was that our muskets fired, but the cannons did not. For their gunpowder actually went wet, became wet. So they couldn't fire those cannons. And now we had a very surreal situation when around 20 guys was charging against 4 artillery guys and 4 of their bodyguards, and we're supposed to lose against them. We've tried. It looked weird, but we actually managed to lose that fight, 20 against 8. We ran away bravely. And yeah, after the battle, the tourists came to us and asked us what actually happened, when we've been telling, yeah, those cannons supposed to scare us off, but unfortunately, Mother Nature won that fight. But yeah, those kind of things happen. So that's it for today. See you next time. I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.